invitation through clicking on the small globe icon that you see right under this window. And then there you will see the languages we offer, and you can choose your language that you feel the most comfortable in. We want you to feel included, so please select the language that works the best for you. And an important note for English speakers, you still have to select the English language by clicking on the small globe under the window, because some of the panel languages and some of this session will not be in English as the main language. So please do select the language that you feel the most comfortable in. We're now going to make this announcement in the other languages, so please bear with us. In the meanwhile, put your name, location, and your organization in the chat. We're so happy to see you today. Bonjour et bienvenue à tous. Nous sommes très ravis que vous soyez là aujourd'hui avec nous. C'est le 4e jour de notre énergie renouvelée rassemblement. Pour écouter cette session en français, il faut juste cliquer le petit globe tout en bas de cette fenêtre et choisissez la langage française. Je répète, pour écouter cette session en français, il vous faut juste cliquer le petit globe tout en bas et sélectionner la langue française comme votre langue. Merci beaucoup. Over to you, Day, to do the announcements in Portuguese and Spanish.
Thank you. Bom dia para quem fala português. A gente está começando o 4º painel do evento Renovando Nossa Energia aqui no Brasil. É um anúncio muito importante sobre idiomas. A gente tem interpretação disponível em inglês, espanhol, francês e inglês. A gente vai ter painelistas hoje falando em vários idiomas. Então, por favor, é muito importante que vocês escolham ali no ícone do globo, aqui embaixo na tela, o idioma que vocês preferirem escutar. E mesmo que seja em inglês, precisa ser selecionado. Se for português, escolhe ali português, para que vocês possam entender o painel todo. Para los hispanohablantes, buenos días, bienvenidos. Este es el 4º panel de Renovemos Nuestra Energía, aquí desde Brasil. Por favor, pedimos a todos que seleccionen el idioma aquí en el icono del globo, aquí abajo en la pantalla, para que puedan escuchar todo el panel. Tenemos panelistas que hablan diversos idiomas hoy, por tanto es muy importante elegir su idioma de preferencia. Gracias.
Thank you, Day.
Y perdone el portuñol para los hispanohablantes.
No, your Spanish is great, and if that's what you said, mine is rusty as well. Thank you, Day. And those of you who are just joining us, hello, and welcome to the 4th day of Renew Our Power gathering. Today, we have a very exciting panel on building community by transforming the energy system. And we look at how art plays a big role in shaping our collective future and our collective vision together. So please drop in your name, organization, where you're joining from in the chat. I see some folks are doing this already, but we'd love to get to know each and every one of you, so feel free. As we said before, this panel is available in 4 different languages: English, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. So please select the globe icon under this window to select the language that works the best for you. Even if you speak English, please do select the English language on the globe by clicking the globe under this window. Before we get started, there's a few reminders as well that I'd like to share with you. As you can see, your mic and camera are off by default, but as you can see here, the chat is open, so feel free to introduce yourself, connect with others, just say a quick hello. We love to see you. Read your name. I see there's a few folks already. Hi, David from UK. Hi, Arya from France. Nasima from the UK as well. Hong from US. Dominic from Nairobi, Kenya. Tasia from Brazil. Looks like we have folks from all around the world joining us already. Please note.
Can I just jump in, Malika, to
Sure.
say a big thank you for those who have been here with us every day during this event. I will mention just some of you, but We are really grateful for everyone. Tasia, Edna, Ezekiel, Lexi, those are the ones I'm seeing right now on my screen as folks who have been with us throughout the freeze as well, throughout the event since the first day. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
Day.
Hope.
Thank you. And yeah, thank you, folks who've been here with us every day. We appreciate it, and we hope that you bring back something each day to share with your family, friends, and your communities. Before we jump into the panels, please note that this webinar is also broadcasted on YouTube, so you can watch it later, share the links with your family, friends, and circles. We will be recording this call, including the chat, so please be mindful of what you put in the chat if you don't want other folks having a look after we finish the panels. And if you have a question for our panelists and you're joining us on Zoom, there's a Q&A feature right next to the small globe you just clicked. So please do use that feature to ask the questions that you want to our panelists, to our staff here at 350, and we'll do our best to elevate some of the questions directly to our speakers on the ground a bit later. All right, Day, where are we on in the panel? Has it started, or do we have to wait a bit longer so we can get to know one another a bit more?
We are still waiting a little bit because there's the daily introduction to the participants who are here in person. I'll just repeat the information again because I think it's really, really cool. We have around 200 people here from 70 different countries. The energy here has been really great. People have been sharing a lot with each other, finding hope in each other, which has been really beautiful to see. Yeah, so the daily intro is happening right now, and we are bringing a little bit back from the track sessions. We have 3 tracks, and those are the sessions that happen only in person, unfortunately, but we will share resources afterwards with those attending online too. And the tracks are divided by policy, by creating our own local distributed renewable energy campaigns, and by mobilization and how to get organizing and community. So they were reporting back from those smaller sessions where people had the chance to interact and discuss things with each other in a deeper level.
Thank you, Dave. That sounds very exciting. And I'm sure for folks joining us who are building their own energy projects or rallying for community-led renewable energy, having insight into what those tracks were and what you talked about could be really great and valuable information, as we're all here to learn from each other and build our work together collectively. Cool. As we wait for the panel to start, let me just begin by telling you a little bit more about what our speakers will be talking about today. First of all, I'm very excited for today's session because we do have a group activity planned as well. So do hang around till the end because we'll need your participation and your support. I'm not telling you what the activity is right now, but a hint is that you'll need a pen and a paper. So go ahead and grab it as well if you don't have one already. And stick around till the end to join us in the group activity. For the panel itself, we are today talking about how art can strengthen our bonds with each other and how it can help us imagine, practice living in the world we want to see. Whether we come from different circumstances, different parts of the world, most of us want the same thing: a safe, healthy, and affordable life for our families. But our current world and energy systems are not built to support this life. And we really believe that it is possible to create a new one that includes everybody and doesn't leave anyone behind. So a world that is shaped by the shared values of community and belonging, based on energy systems that are organized for and by the people and not with profit in mind. So this is a little bit what our panel today is about, with some exciting speakers lined up. And I see here maybe that the panel is already starting. So Day, over to you, and we can get started.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Malika. Yes, we are going to pass over to the floor now for the interpreters. We are moving to the room now. So thank you so much. We'll open the audio from the floor. Thank you.
An indigenous Sapara film collective in the Ecuadorian Amazon that has organized film festivals on renewable energy canoes. And some of you might have seen Sani's film last night, so we're excited to learn more about it today. Sorry, I have to tiptoe to reach this mic. I also want to introduce someone that the Pacific Islanders recognize because he joins us for kava every night. Amalin Sananandar from the Artivist Collective in Malaysia. You also recognize him as co-hosting our art space. Amalin has organized several artivist collectives and actions and assists the social justice movement with using art to further our causes. Another face that's quite familiar and helped us do our banner action tomorrow, I'd like to introduce Tiago Mundano. Thank you so much for joining us. Tiago is a Brazilian artist and activist whose work is focused on social and environmental justice issues. He's founded numerous projects, and we've also been fortunate enough to have Mundano create beautiful art for some of our own movements in our coalition. So Vinaka Wakalevu. And last but not least, we have my sister June Bartwin of Kenya, who is a dedicated advocate for the Endoroi indigenous community in Kenya, focusing on climate justice and environmental sustainability. She works to protect their ancestral lands while promoting care, cultural preservation, and climate resilience. So today we're going to hear a little bit about how we're going to envision this radical future that we know is possible. We're going to collectively do an exercise after we hear from the speakers and really map out what it's going to take to make this renewable energy revolution happen. But before we look forward, we have to look back. In the Pacific, we have this concept, if you want to know where you're going, you need to know where you came from. So before we start to envision this future, I'd like to invite first Dr. Reverend Ambrose to share his journey and his challenges in achieving the work that he's done. Vinaka.
He drew a circle to shut us out, a heretic, a rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had a will to win, and we drew a circle to take him in. Good morning. My name is Ambrose Carroll from Oakland, California, and so very glad to be here. I just want to say thank you to all of the administrators, everyone who's been running program. Come on, let's give 350 and everyone a great hand this morning for such hospitality. Let's see. All right. So again, my organization is called Green the Church, and we are an organization founded for and by what is called in the States, the Black Church. And I'll say a little bit more about that. We're talking about these trees today. I'm going to start from the roots, amen, because in America, we talk a lot about the roots. I'm from Oakland, California. All right, but the family is originally from Hollywood. And that's Holly, Louisiana, down in the woods. And our family, I come from a family of clergy. Our church in Holly, Louisiana was founded in like 1871, shortly after the Civil War. Ex-slaves and what we believe people who are already aboriginal to the space created this church, created farmland and really bought stuff together. But we've always been very connected to the planet and connected to spirituality. We believe, in fact, that the way that we do spirituality, and even though most of us come from a Christian context, but that we have been doing spirituality together eons before the Mayflower ever sailed. We also believe, we talk about land and space and place, and I want to say that, quote unquote, African Americans are in the midst of what we consider a great awakening, that we are really becoming to understand that we are more than just ex-slaves. And though many of us have bloodlines that were a part of the 388,000 people who came to the States during slavery, but the reality is that there are 46 million African Americans. And so in 400 years, that would be like a 12,000% growth rate. And we do not believe that all of us, right, came solely from the African continent, but many of us are aboriginal to the American landscape. That's somewhat of what we call an inconvenient truth that we are wrestling with as a part of Green the Church. I became, this organization was founded, I was a part of something called Green for All with Van Jones that taught about the environmental movement, sustainability, and we really saw the Black church as people who have always knew how to reuse, people who understood medicines from the earth, people who knew how to put seed in ground, and that a lot of that knowledge and information did not come via things that we were taught during slavery, but they are really a part of our Aboriginal past. And so we've connected, our three pillars are around amplifying green liberation theology, promoting sustainable practices, and building power for political and economic change. So that when we talk about spirituality or church, we're really talking about the spiritual center of all human beings. We understand that we need everybody and that we need everything. We understand that we are a part and connected to all humanity across this entire span of the planet, and we are connected to all sentient beings. Secondly, we promote sustainable practices. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, whether that's food sovereignty, building efficiency, getting out into nature, and then finally building power for political and economic change. I'll bore you, I won't bore you with some of these pieces. Our values are resilience, Afrocentricity, or what it means to be Aboriginal, courage, and empowerment. We've been doing Green the Church Summits for the last 15 years. Our organization turns 15 on May 10th of this year. And we really pride ourselves in bringing communities together throughout the states. We've been in probably 12 of the states gathering people and individuals. We thank God for our partners. And I want to tell you, this is the piece that brings us here today. Black folks don't own a lot of skyscrapers, downtown areas in the States, but we own a lot of faith buildings. We own a lot of faith lands. Some of our churches are great cathedrals. Some of them are storefronts and shacks, but we own them. And so we're making sure that we're doing building efficiency and renewable energy projects. The environmental justice movement was started in North Carolina, led in part by the African American Church, and the environmental justice movement is something that we still fight for with others all over the globe. This is our project, and I'll say about this, we have started what we call a revenue generating microgrid. Amen. Working with our partner, Dr. Anthony Kinslow of Gemini Energy Solutions. He's a Stanford graduate that came up with a way for us to have battery, solar, and EV charging, and that our churches can make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year via that EV charging. And so this is our first project at the Glad Tidings. International Church of God in Christ. It is a $4 million project. We've been able to secure small, low-interest loans from the Kresge Foundation. We've been able to get $3 million from them, $4 million from something called the Freedmen's Green Bank, which is an African-American fiscal agent. And right now we have 25 more of these in our pipeline for this year, 25 in California, and about 10 throughout the other states in the country. So again, solar, battery, EV charging. When I talk about what we can do together, for us, that allows us to do workforce development, to decide who's putting solar on the roof, to help our electricians understand how they can do electric vehicle charging, teaching our young people how to do heating system, HVAC systems, heat pump water heaters, and the like. And so workforce development is big. These will be resilient hubs, which means if the power goes out in the community, that there will be fresh water at the church, that there will be lights, there will be a way to plug in, and there will be a way for the community to be more resilient and vibrant. And again, this is because we are yet in a very capitalistic society. It is a way for us not to talk about what we are against, but to talk about what we are for. We are not crying with a loaf of bread under our arms. We are not begging. We own these buildings. When our people were moved, chased out of the South, when we were being lynched, we came into areas that were redlined. And even when people could not buy homes, our grandmothers put together their nickels and dimes. They sold chicken dinners and sweet potato pies, and they have ownership of these buildings. And so these are our sacred trust, and we want to make sure that we can benefit. We have a saying, it ain't no fun if the homies don't have none. So we want to make sure that we are empowered and participatory. And how we want to work with many of you is, as these churches begin to make a profit, we want to make sure that we are profit sharing with organizations like yours all over the diaspora and the world who are doing energy projects. We want to help fund your energy projects through the projects that we do. Really want you to come and see us. October of this year, we're going to have our 15th anniversary celebration in Atlanta, Georgia. And of course, we're looking for sponsorships and the whole nine so we can continue to move forward. I think as a Baptist preacher, I think I gave y'all a 45 minutes and 15, so thank you all for bearing with me. Listen, this is no time to play, to dream, to drift. We have hard work to do and loads to lift. Shun not the struggle. The struggle, I tell you, is the gift. Be strong. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Ambrose, for that, and sharing, how renewable energy and community can lead to not just energy justice, but economic justice. And I think we're really appreciative of that. I'd now like to invite Sani from Ecuador to also share how art and culture and community has helped overcome challenges in renewable energy. Thank you, Sani.
Buenos días con todos. Estoy muy feliz de estar participando aquí en este evento de 350. Gracias por traernos de nuestras comunidades para mostrar el trabajo que nace en territorios amazónicos. Yo soy cofundadora de la Fundación Tauna, Cine desde Territorio. Les quiero compartir un poquito sobre lo que hacemos en mi fundación. Como se han dado cuenta, las películas que otros cineastas indígenas hacen nunca llegan a los territorios. No tenemos formas de ver porque se participan en distintos festivales. Entonces, junto con otra fundación que es Cara Solar, nos aliamos y sacamos el festival de cine que se llama Canua, que lleva estas películas de los distintos cineastas indígenas de diferentes países a territorios amazónicos en Ecuador. Entonces navegamos en estos barcos solares y cargamos nuestros equipos, nuestras cámaras en las bases solares para llevar estas películas y este cine a los territorios, ya que los pueblos no se permiten salir a las ciudades para ir a un gran cine. Entonces lo que nosotros hacemos es viajar en estos ríos, en estas barcas, para llevar a distintas comunidades, y lo más hermoso que es que nosotros compartimos este conocimiento con las comunidades, con los jóvenes, con las mujeres, con los hombres, con los niños. Les enseñamos a utilizar estas herramientas, estas tecnologías, y a que cuenten sus propias historias a través de una cámara. No que nos vengan a dar contando nuestras historias, no que nos, mejor mostrar cómo nosotros queremos ser vistos, cómo queremos que nos vean sin folclorizarnos, cómo queremos que nuestras voces sean escuchadas, nuestras lenguas sean escuchadas también, y nuestras películas sean en una lengua propia, que para nuestras comunidades eso es valioso, porque nosotros muchos no entendemos el inglés y llegan estas películas a nuestras comunidades. Entonces empezamos a crear nuestras películas en nuestra propia lengua y a navegar en los ríos, llevando este mensaje y este conocimiento también para las demás comunidades. Y empezamos a ponerle cine en unas pantallas grandes, todo esto a base solar, con energía solar, con las bases que nuestros compañeros de Cara Solar hacen. Entonces, en estas alianzas que nosotros hacemos es para darle un buen uso a estas herramientas que existen. Transformamos estas herramientas que ya hay, nos apropiamos de estas herramientas. Este año vamos a hacer la tercera edición en otros ríos. Estamos todavía planeando en qué río hacer, ya que muchas veces los retos siempre son los fondos. Entonces lo que nosotros hacemos, nos aliamos también con otros jóvenes cineastas, creadores, filmmakers, y también jóvenes que están interesados en compartir y aprender este conocimiento que ya hay. Entonces vamos y cada uno va mostrándonos, nos encargamos de lo que sabemos en cada área, y vamos a las comunidades, enseñamos a los jóvenes. Entonces en las comunidades ellos son sus propios productores, ellos son sus propios guionistas, ellos son sus propios camarógrafos, y vamos dirigiendo. Empezamos con los talleres por la mañana, y en la tarde tenemos un equipo que se encarga de editar estos videos que se han grabado en la mañana, y en las noches les mostramos cómo ellos son vistos en los cines afuera, en estas pantallas, en estas conferencias también. Y entonces es un momento de risas, de molestarnos, mira cómo tú te ves ahí, mira cómo nos vemos, y es como algo impactante, algo lindo también, porque nadie viene a nuestras comunidades, nadie nos devuelve las fotografías que nos han venido a sacar, porque también es una forma que nos han venido saqueando. Visualmente llegan y nos toman fotos, y qué han pasado con esas fotografías. Nadie nos devuelve este material. Entonces, lo que nosotros hacemos en mi Fundación Tauna es recopilar todos estos materiales que se han llevado de adentro hacia afuera. Tratamos de buscar lo que más podamos, y cuando estamos en una comunidad que estas imágenes les pertenecen, les devolvemos este material. Entonces ahí se reconstruye otra memoria, se vuelven a ver sus caras cuando eran niños, y van contando los mensajes que esa vez contaron y que no fueron escuchados, sino vinieron solo a dirigir y a ver lo que ellos querían ver, no a ver lo que nosotros queríamos mostrarles en realidad. Entonces estamos trabajando para que también con los compañeros de Cara Solar en el territorio Achuar, uno de los ríos sea el primer río electrificado, y estamos ahí acompañándoles también a través del arte, del cine que nosotros hacemos. Y también queremos que conozcan este trabajo en los demás territorios, que se unan a esta lucha, porque al final es una lucha. Siempre hemos vivido una lucha. Nos enseñaron a vivir en una lucha. Yo siempre digo así como nosotros antes no sabíamos qué era resistir, qué era salir a las marchas, qué era salir a manifestaciones, porque solo existíamos en las comunidades. Entonces, lo que ahora nosotros hacemos es apropiarnos de cada uno de lo que hay, estas herramientas que ya existen. No podemos hacernos de la vista gorda y decir esto está contaminando. No, hay que transformar esto y como nosotros los pueblos hacemos apropiándonos, creando, innovando estas herramientas, trayendo para nuestros territorios. Y bueno, entonces quería como también mostrarles que en estos territorios hay jóvenes que no siempre son parte de estos espacios y para eso estamos nosotros enseñándoles, abriendo este camino a los demás jóvenes para que puedan ser escuchados, aprendan todo lo que hay y ahorita lo que nosotros también estamos haciendo es creando estos espacios para la comunidad también LGBT amazónica en Ecuador, ya que muchas veces la voz, es, ese tipo de cuerpos, la voz han sido calladas, disminuidas por temor, por las iglesias que han llegado. Entonces nosotros estamos también creando, por mi fundación somos diversos, indígenas, no indígenas de la comunidad LGBT, y somos quienes queremos mostrar estas herramientas, queremos mostrar este tipo de películas, este tipo de conocimientos que sean vistos en sus ojos y que también sean vistos en un lenguaje propio. No todo tiene que ser traducido, no todo tiene que ser para afuera, sino también tiene que ser para adentro, que salga de las comunidades, que salga de las bases hacia afuera, no de hacia afuera hacia adentro. Gracias y compartan y también quiero que sigan en nuestras páginas, al festival y que se unan a este camino, a esta barca, súbanse a nuestra barca solar y vámonos a navegar por la Amazonía. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Sami, for sharing that. And for those of us that come from areas with big bodies of water that need to move over water, I'm really touched to see solar-powered canoes because we travel on canoes in the Pacific, and I'm really inspired to take this back home. I'd now like to pass to our Pacific friend and brother, Amelin Winaka.
Hello, hi. So I'm gonna just be walking around in a little bit. I'm not the type of person who can sit still for too long, but I'll start seated. So yeah, I am not gonna talk too much about myself in particular today, but share with you a few different stories that maybe will be interesting for you. So first off, I want to just start off by telling you what my organization is. I'm part of the Artivist Network. We are a collective of arts activists from around the world that focus on creative campaigning, direct action, and innovating different ways that we can change or make change in the systems of oppression and patriarchy and all of that jazz. We want to dismantle all of that and create a new world that is better for all of us and at the same time more beautiful and vibrant. We focus on climate justice in particular, with a focus on helping those in the global south. We do understand that those in the global north are better equipped than those of us in the global south, or better resourced sometimes, and that's not fair. And to address this, we focus a lot of our work here in the Global South. I'm not going to say so much more about the Artivist Network. Some of y'all may know us. We usually are at these big climate conferences like COP. but we also now do a lot of work throughout the year in different regions around the world. We've recently actually just started an Asian team, and we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up in the coming years. So yeah, that is the Artivist Network. You can follow us on our social media at ArtivistNet on Instagram, Twitter, and all your other platforms. A little bit about myself. Some of y'all also here may know me as a troublemaker, the person who gets arrested a lot, the guy who always talks to the police and somehow gets in trouble or not in trouble sometimes, and also the person who helps with making art. I gladly like to fill those names, and I hope I live them well. But myself, I actually come from a climate policy background. About 10 years ago, I came to an art space in Paris, and my life was turned around. I saw what art and activism can really do. I understood for the first time what is the meaning of artivism, where it's not just about art, it's not just about being abstract, it's not just about being direct with activism, but there's a beauty in combining these two things. And 10 years ago in Paris, I fell in love with artivism, and I've never looked back. I've left policy behind. There are a lot of policy people already, but there are not enough artivists, I feel. And I've done a lot of things around the world. I give talks, speeches. Some may recognize that top right picture from Madrid when I accidentally got 12,000 people kicked out of COP. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is the world that I love, and I believe that we can make a lot of change doing the work that I do. But at the same time, I do want to acknowledge that everybody here, we all have the same goal of saving the world, but we're all taking different paths. And just because my path doesn't align with you, doesn't necessarily mean we're not doing amazing things. All right? So I just want to put that as a disclaimer, because a lot of times people always think, you need to go the art way or the protest way, but you don't go the policy way. And some people on the policy side say, you protest on the streets too much, you're disrupting our policy. I believe, no, you need to have both of those things concurrently together. So, another thing, I like to make giant puppets, and I like to act out in giant puppets. This was in Poland. We made a giant puppet of Bolsonaro and one of our indigenous friends here in the Sarena people from Brazil, Taili. We made a giant puppet of Taili and Bolsonaro, and we had a giant fight in the streets of Poland, and it was hilarious. It was amazing, but at the same time, we kind of got into trouble because that came out in the largest newspaper in Brazil. And some of our Brazilian friends got in trouble because of us making fun of Bolsonaro. So sorry, Brazilian friends who got in trouble. Like I said, I tend to be a troublemaker sometimes. Here is the first story I want to share with you. It's something to do with renewable energy of sorts, but it's also a little funny, this story. So I don't know if you can see this so well. The lights are a bit bright. And I'm so sorry, the pictures are really bad quality, because at that time in my life, I was very broke and just like phone pictures, okay? Really bad phones as well. But this is in the mountains in Malaysia, in the northern east side of Malaysia, called Gua Musang, which translates to Fox Cave, even though we don't have foxes in Malaysia. So in Gua Musang, there was a blockade in the middle of the jungle. This was done by the indigenous people there, the Tamiar people. And together, I went there to help them out. It is illegal in Malaysia for those who are not indigenous to go into the jungle without the permission of like the state and things like this. However, if you're indigenous, that's fine. So my indigenous friends brought me into the jungle. This is like 3 hours into the jungle across like muddy roads that like, you know, your trucks are like, and you're like, jumping all over. Not so fun getting there, but the view from the top of these mountains, the trees and the forests are phenomenal. However, there was illegal logging going on in this indigenous land. So our friends invited me to come over and help out with what was happening. And how I was helping out was two things. One, I was there as a media person, relaying information to our friends in the cities to help this come out in newspapers. If you Google this, blockade, you will find a ton of pictures, ton of news articles with really bad pictures, all of them, because I took them from like a shitty phone and stuff like this. But the second thing, which I did when I came there, is also to bring electricity. So this is the huts that we had built at the blockade. This is the front of the blockade. And these are the huts that we had built in the blockade. Each hut represented a different community and things like this that were affected by this logging. And we all came together into this space to be there at the blockade. And at the blockade, there was no water, there was no food, there was no electricity, none of these things. It was a random path that these illegal logging companies were using to transport wood out of their sacred land for commercial use, etc., etc. So we had set up this blockade and there was nothing there. So everything had to be built. Everything had to be created. Systems of someone going to get water every day, a system of someone going to hunt every day. These were all things that we had to come up with. And one of the things, sadly, I don't have a picture of it, but in this hut here, you can't really see, but this hut is also extends a little bit to the back, and it's a giant like little community hall. That is where I was staying every day. And in this spot, I brought with me a solar panel, just a single panel, not as big as this, half the size of this panel. I brought it with me together with a battery. So I brought it with me, set it up on top of the roof, put a little pot at the bottom, and then the battery point in there, we had a source of recharging our phones. And for me in particular, recharging my laptop so that I could write information and send it to our friends in the city so that they could continue reporting about this. Because again, this was super remote. There was no proper internet access and things like this. And it was very difficult for us to get information out. But because we had this amazing solar panel that we literally crafted together, just took a panel, attached some wires to a random inverter that we didn't know would work or not. And then somehow we managed to have power in the middle of the jungle here in Malaysia. And to state this again, it is really difficult for electricity coverage in these dense parts or dense forests in Malaysia. And that's why things like solar panels, and also in Malaysia, we have micro hydro systems, which we attach to rivers. These systems are really effective in powering our communities here. And the last part about this is when this whole blockade happened, this is all the police, military and everything, when they came to dismantle our blockade for, I think, the second time. We came in and like I said, I was completely illegal there. So when all of this was happening, there was a big meeting here with the police and everything, and they were talking. And right over there in the back in that hut, which I said was where I was literally just like hiding there behind my friends. The police are over there. Okay, I need to hide. I can't let them see me. And at the same time, I'm telling my friends, go and take a picture. Go and record what the police are saying. They're talking bullshit. You have the right to the land, not them. And these kind of things, these kind of tactics, this kind of help that we try to offer to each other and push forward is very necessary. And it's that type of coexistence, cohabitation that we can with each other and with the forests around us, that's really important. And this kind of people, they don't really see that. And it's really important for us when we come out from these situations that we tell these stories. So just as a conclusion for this, we did win this in court. We took this to court. We won against the logging company. They had to leave the land, and it was a huge victory for our people. However, this I will admit, our storytelling after this was not the best. And sadly, subsequent cases that we've gone against these logging companies, they have also learned tactics of how to beat us. And sadly, we've lost quite a few cases after that as well. However, we've learned from our mistakes. We understand the need for stories to be told even further. We understand the need for people to be educated more about these issues. And this is something that we're moving forward, especially around creating new systems of energy in Malaysia. It involves a lot of land clearing, and we want to make sure that this isn't completely haphazardly done, and it's done in a manner that is respectable towards the indigenous lands and the indigenous people that are there. So yeah, that is this. I want to share one last story before I talk about challenges and stuff. This is our ex-Prime Minister of Malaysia, Najib Razak. He stole 4.2 billion US dollars from the Malaysian people. And not even creatively, this guy is so stupid, he just put it directly into his bank account. Like, are you serious? And what happened is in 2016, this was announced to the world. The whole world knew that Najib Razak took 4.2 billion US dollars from the Malaysian people. The 1MDB case, some of you may have heard of it. Have any of you watched the Wolf of Wall Street movie? That movie was funded by stolen money from the 1MDB, from the Malaysian people. Yeah, the person who produced that is his son-in-law. And he used Malaysian money to produce that movie. They took a lot of it back and stuff like this as well. But the reason why I'm talking about him is because in 2016, when all of this became to light, nobody did anything about it. Okay? And what one person did was Fahmi Reza. He is an amazing artivist from Malaysia. He started this. Kita semua penghasut. We are all corrupt. We are all hustlers here. Okay? And this sparked a huge movement in Malaysia. This started to be everywhere. People were taking posters and sticking it all over Malaysia, shirts, stickers, wheat pasting, giant ads, all sorts of things. And because of that, we started having large protests. This is a very common protest in Malaysia called bersih, which means clean. And we wanted to clean up our government, clean up all of these corruption that's going on. And it's been something we've had for a long time. But the pinnacle of it reached in 2018, 2017, when all of these corruption cases were going on. And because of Fahmi Reza, with all of his caricatures of our politicians, we finally managed to overthrow the government that's been sitting in power for 60 years. That has been a central government. And we have finally been able to install new people inside. And just as the last thing I want to say, when I say kita semua penghasut, I want you to say bersih, 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 which means clean, clean, clean. Kita semua penghasut. Awesome. Thank you very much. And before I just cede my time back, I just want to say as well, we at the Artivist Network, we're also working on a lot of different projects to shut down coal, gas all around the world. And it's really important nowadays, I want to stress that the storytelling, the narrative that we are hearing from our amazing panelists, from the people that we've heard over the past few days and the people we hear from the rest of the day as well and tomorrow, it's really important that we change these narratives, change the narrative of gas as a transition fuel, change the narrative of coal getting clean, change these narratives of fossil fuels to narratives of renewable energy, of solar, wind, all of these different technologies that we have. And this is something that I believe we can do amazingly together, and together we can change the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Amelin, for sharing, that art has long been an act of resistance, but in the story of the logging, that access to renewable energy helped fuel an act of resistance. So we're really, I don't come from an artist background, so I sometimes find artivists a bit scary and intimidating, but listening to them, I'm, refueled that yes, policy and communications, but art and protest is also the fire that burns the movement. So thank you very much. Before I pass on to our next panelist, we have some viewers joining us online, so thank you so much. They've been contributing some input as well and some comments to the panelists. So I just wanted to share from another bishop joining online, Bishop Evaristo Meleki. They say, yes, pastors and all men and women of God should all be involved and are responsible in saving not just human lives, but planet Earth, and therefore in the restoration of renewable energy. Another shout out from Kathy Dervin. Thank you, Amelin. Artivists are a critical and inspirational part of our work and community building. And I think we can all agree with that in this room. So next up, I'd like to invite, I was a bit starstruck meeting him, to be honest, but Tiago Mundano from Brazil, Yunaka.
So, bom dia. I will talk in Portuguese as we have the privilege to be in my country. Vou levantar aqui também, dá licença. Primeiro, um privilégio estar aqui com pessoas do mundo inteiro, representando o país também numa mesa tão potente. Eu sou um artivista, eu estou aqui, consegue me ver aqui também. E eu tento usar o meu trabalho para amplificar vozes. E como aqui temos várias mensagens nesse mural. E vendo esse mural e vindo de um momento tão importante para o nosso país, do mundo também, dos povos originários, que foi o ATL, aqui mesmo em Brasília, e indo para a COP30, eu já consigo ficar imaginando como será a marcha na COP30, em Belém, partindo dessa imagem. Bom, eu nasci e vivo até hoje em São Paulo, essa cidade maravilhosa, cheia de natureza, toda colorida e que é maravilhosa. Então, convido vocês a ir lá. Bom, lá a gente tem muitos negacionistas climáticos. A gente tem todo esse poder construindo concreto e mais a nossa concrete jungle, né? E o meu desafio, a gente também está falando aqui de desafios, é como comunicar, como falar com essas pessoas sobre temas, porque aqui o pessoal não está se importando com a Amazônia. Em São Paulo, eles só lembram da Amazônia quando a fumaça das queimadas é tão forte que São Paulo anoitece às 3 horas da tarde. Aí todo mundo quer salvar a Amazônia. Quando o pessoal pensa aqui em energias renováveis, é como eu vou fazer dinheiro, como eu vou abrir minha startup e ficar bilionário vendendo painel solar. Infelizmente, essa é a realidade que a gente tem na minha cidade. Estou falando de uma perspectiva de uma grande cidade. Bom, eu nasci aqui e quis transformar essa cidade. Um dos projetos que eu me dedico mais como ativista é a mostrar que essa pessoa aqui é um super-herói climático que está salvando o planeta. Esses aqui são catadores, waste pickers, porque eles estão todos os dias coletando 500 quilos do nosso lixo para reciclar. Isso salva energia, isso salva água, isso salva o petróleo. Então, eu falo que eles são catadores super-heróis. Bom, vou dar um pulo gigante. Eu estou há 18 anos pintando os carrinhos que eles coletam pelo mundo, tentando amplificar as vozes dele como heróis aí que estão salvando o planeta todos os dias. Né? Os que mais preservam são também os mais impactados. Você sabe que isso não é novidade para ninguém. Bom, eu comecei fazendo isso sozinho durante 5 anos. Depois, finalmente, entendi que sozinho ninguém vai fazer nada. E a gente criou um movimento com mais artistas. Hoje, já são mais de 3.000 artistas que já pintaram carrinhos como esses em mais de 100 cidades pelo mundo. Então, amplificando as vozes. Inclusive, já fizemos carrinhos com energia solar para tentar escalar isso, porque às vezes a energia renovável chega só nos ricos. Então, esse é um projeto que a gente tem feito para escalar. Então, por que eles não podem ter carrinhos elétricos, né? Bom, retomando aqui, esse aqui eu pintei um carrinho de uma super-heroína em Lima, na COP20. Você pode ver aqui, COP20. E aí também foi quando eu comecei a estar um pouco mais ligado nesse movimento climático, assim como a Malê falou, lá na COP21, que tinha o Art Space, para mim aquilo também abriu minha cabeça e eu sigo aprendendo e tentando conectar, dizendo que um reciclador, um catador, faz mais que o ministro do meio ambiente. Essa era a frase que estava aqui. E depois eu venho repetindo que, às vezes, os catadores fazem mais do que todos os negociadores nas COPs, que são muito de blá, blá, blá. Bom, essa é a realidade em muitos lugares. Eu vejo aqui desperdício de energia, desperdício de renda. Isso aqui é no Brasil. Isso aqui é um rio amazônico. Então, é assim. E a gente tem aqui todo esse desperdício de energia. E essa é a realidade. E, muitas vezes, no Brasil, sei que em outros lugares também, a gente usa, né, as empresas usam dizendo que tem energia renovável nas suas fábricas para fazer greenwashing, né? Então, esse é um dos grandes desafios. As empresas, as marcas, os poluidores estão usando isso para falar que são sustentáveis. Então, como parte até de uma campanha que eu fiz aqui, junto com a 350, usar a arte também para fazer os poluidores pagarem. Make polluters pay, porque eles são os grandes financiadores de tragédias como essa. Isso aqui é quando estourou o pior crime ambiental, social e ambiental da história do Brasil, quando tem rompimento das barragens, como em Mariana e Brumadinho. E isso aqui é lotado de mining waste, né? E aí eu comecei a usar essa lama tóxica para fazer artes, como essa aqui, uma reinterpretação de Guernica. E depois fui lá eu aqui pegar de novo mais lama tóxica em Brumadinho para pintar um prédio como esse daqui, de 800 metros quadrados, no meio da cidade de São Paulo. Então, comecei a mudar a visão da mapa de São Paulo. Obrigado. E essa aqui é uma homenagem a todos os trabalhadores, 272, que foram engolidos pela lama tóxica e que até hoje não tiveram sua reparação. Ou como o vazamento de óleo que teve no Nordeste, esse óleo spill que rolou em mais de 1000 localidades do Nordeste brasileiro e que o povo nordestino retirou o óleo com a mão e fizeram acontecer. E aí, quem lembra essa aqui, a grande onda de Kanagawa, do artista? Então, eu fiz essa grande onda do óleo, essa reinterpretação dessa famosa pintura japonesa, engolindo também a nossa cidade. E esse aqui é um menino que estava retirando o óleo com as suas próprias mãos e também coloquei ele no meio dessa pintura famosa do Monet para também mostrar esse desespero e registrar, porque a gente é um povo sem memória, a gente não lembra mais desses desastres, desses crimes, e acho que a arte tem esse papel. Aqui, de novo, apresento a vocês a Amazônia. Essa é a Amazônia que está se tornando. Cada pontinho vermelho disso aqui é queimada. No auge do fogo no Brasil, cada pontinho desse é uma queimada, e isso aqui é de um dia, para vocês terem uma ideia. É uma loucura que está acontecendo. E eu estou aqui também, olha eu aqui, ó. Vim aqui para pegar com meus próprios olhos, aqui de novo, eu estou aqui, olha eu aqui, coletando as cinzas da Amazônia, que a gente usou ontem na ação, que jogou ontem lá também, essas cinzas como um pigmento para fazer grandes pinturas. Essa aqui tem 1000 metros quadrados, não sei se você consegue me ver aqui, ó, tem uma coisa azul, uma foto colorida, tá? Lembra que São Paulo é colorido? Aqui eu estou nesse guindaste azul aqui pintando um megafone aqui. Enfim, essa é uma outra reinterpretação de uma pintura famosa que tinha um lavrador de café e eu transformei num brigadista, num firefighter, como também um super-herói aí apagando o fogo da ganância, e você consegue ler lá em cima um SOS, SOS, From the Ashes, o mapa do Brasil, enfim, tem vários ícones aí. Isso tomou uma repercussão também muito forte, porque é muito grande e pintado com as Amazonas. Enfim, usando agora também das enchentes, a lama, tenho criado esses pigmentos de crimes ambientais. Então, na minha última pintura, claro que eu faço com muitos artistas me ajudando, ela tinha 1.500 metros quadrados e talvez a maior pintura de São Paulo e a maior do mundo usando pigmentos naturais, né, entre aspas. Então, aqui eu representei a Alessandra Munduruku, que estava ontem aqui também fazendo ação em Brasília, né, essa parede que está na linha de frente, desafiando aqui Cargill para stop the destruction, né, dando um basta para toda essa destruição que é feita com a exploração. E você consegue ver aqui, no meio de São Paulo, o painel lá. Então, nessa outra pintura aqui, está escrito Our time is end, o tempo está acabando, o tempo está acabando. Então, eu acho que, com todos esses dados científicos, com todas essas ondas de calor, secas extremas, enchentes, não estão mais sensibilizando mais as pessoas. Esses números viraram paisagens. Por isso que a gente precisa de ações com arte, né, com artivismo, para transformar isso. Porque senão o nosso mapa mundi, estão vendo que eu estou pintando um mapa mundi, vai virar assim. A gente vai viver num mundo que a crosta terrestre vai ficar tão quente que vai rachar. E os bilionários, como viajaram para o espaço esses dias ali para tirar um monte de selfie, eles vão fugir. Mas nós, os impactados, a gente vai fugir para o meio das rachaduras. Conseguem ver pessoas vivendo aqui? No meio aqui, ó, a África aqui. Ó, nós estamos aqui na América do Sul. A gente vai viver num mundo assim, tentando pegar água dessas rachaduras. E o que eu acho que o ativismo é capaz é de, dessas rachaduras, vir uma revolução pela transição energética justa. Muito obrigado.
Thank you so much, Tiago, for sharing, how art can often be the manifestation of our grief for this planet, of our dismay and just disbelief at where the world is. And the fact that even though it's breaking, we have to have something better than this. There has to be something better than this right now. So we really appreciate, the emotion and the frustration that goes into art to then visualize a better world. And speaking of a better world, next up we have June Bartwin, who does some phenomenal work with Indigenous communities. Vinaka.
Thank you for having me. My name is June. I'm from Kenya. And before I start, this is the role of arts in the renewable energy. And I would like you all to stand up and honor an artist from Indigenous community who is speaking about the climate justice in Africa. Yeah, you're gonna dance, you're gonna sing the way you want. It's just a 1 minute song. Come on, Africans. You understand this? Look at our land. We need climate justice. We want climate justice. Thank you so much for this. Just you can. I want to switch off. Okay, I'm from Indigenous community known as Endorois. This is a community which is very underrepresented in Africa, in Kenya, and I'm happy today to be here to share my insights on what we do and what we want to see in future. I am the founder of Indigenous Peoples for Peace and Climate Justice, an organization working with Indigenous youth in Kenya on renewable energy practices in our community. And the race community is a very patriarchy community in our homeland. What we do is we do empowerment to our women and young people on how to install the solar power energies in their houses and the importance of using renewable and clean energy in our households. Recently, we harvested black waters in our homelands. Reason why? the ozone layer has been destroyed. Our community cannot understand the reason why they harvest black water. It is our role as young people to make our communities understand why everything is changing, unlike our past. When I grew up, the land I'm living right now is the land that I wasn't lived before. Everything has changed. The grass has diminished. The drought is immense. Rainfall patterns have changed. There's a lot of food security in the region. And our people cannot understand why is all this happening. Right now, they hear about climate, but they could not understand or interpret what this means to them, what climate means to them. And it's because, since I knew about these spaces, only 2 Endorise people in our community have joined COPs since the start from COP 1 to COP 30. Where are the voices? How can they amplify the voices in the big spaces for their policies on even the renewable energy to be heard? The policies that embrace the renewable energy in our communities should be enhanced. The government, and even the government of Kenya, should channel the FLOCA funds, the finance for locally led solutions should be channeled to our indigenous community. In Kenya, we are so many indigenous peoples live in Kenya. A lot of people, but you find that the government is topping up the projects from another project to lead the climate projects within the region. And they are not embracing the renewable energy projects here in the community. It's our plea that the policies should be implemented and it should act. Yes, this is our school. This is the school I grew up. And this picture I took 2 weeks ago. We should use art as a tool to visualize the communication, to communicate the future of the future energy. The performances, the installation that brings renewable energy to life. Even the billboards that the government of Kenya is installing in the community should talk more on renewables. When we use art, it is an ability for us to connect with people emotionally as a cause. Yeah, and I'm very happy today. I've never been to this bigger gathering, but I'm happy to amplify the voices of the indigenous youth in Africa and in Kenya. The vision is very clear. We need just inclusive energy transition in our indigenous communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, June. And it's true, you know, access to finance and equitable distribution of finance is often a barrier many of our indigenous and frontline communities face. I just want to say after that dance break, I take back my statement about not being an artist. I think I now consider myself a dancer. So thank you very much for that. So now that we've kind of looked back at the work that our panelists have done and the challenges they faced, we're switching gears a little bit to look forward and to really figure out how radical a future can we envision? How big can we dream? How deep can we dig in order to make the just energy transition possible? So for my next quick question to the panelists, before we go into an exercise, you might have seen some trees There are 4 trees on the wall that our arts center has gracefully painted for us on my request. But my question to the panelists is, what is your radical vision for the future? And when we're trying to envision this ideal, you'll see the trees, and we're going to try and put it into the metaphor of a vision tree, where the clouds above the trees are this big ideal vision. The leaves of the trees are the tangible goals that we can achieve. The trunk is your individual strength as a person here at the ROP gathering today. And then the roots, because those are the most important parts, especially for us, is our collective strength. What is our strength as a community? So before everyone goes into this exercise, I'd like to ask our panelists to inspire us with what is your radical vision for the future?
Thank you so much. And again, a round of applause to all of the speakers. This was fantastic. Learned so much. Everything that we do at Green the Church points to one North Star, and that is the coming of what Martin King and others call the beloved community. And we really see that as paradise, paradisio, not in the by and by, but paradise on planet Earth as it was meant to be. Thank you.
Yo había notado una visión radical para un futuro con energía renovable. Para mí sería un mundo donde toda la energía proviene de energías limpias, accesibles y gestionadas para las comunidades, como justicia climática, sostenibilidad, equidad, sistemas energéticos 100% renovables y descentralizadas.
Thank you so much.
Okay. For me, the vision is clear. Decentralization of a community-led energy system is a key to us. When you decentralize the energy to the community, everything will work. We need to act locally. Every home and a community should generate and store a shared energy in our communities. And we need a holistic and regenerative system that is both eco-friendly and even empowering, in our community. That's the vision.
From my perspective, I kind of believe in solar punk, sort of that ideation of it. However, my ideation of what solar punk is, or my definition of it, is something that also involves controlling our consumption. I believe our world has been so destroyed by capitalism, by overproduction, overconsumption. These are the things that we need to address at the same time when we're transitioning to new energy sources. Because if we're going to transition to something that's clean and renewable, we will still face a problem with overconsumption. If we are just constantly consuming without thinking of what the consequences are, we are not going to get anywhere. We can change our systems, but we are still going to over-extract our earth. So I believe that we still and first need to address that point. But just to end is that my ideation of solar punk is the fact that, like what of my fellow panelists have already mentioned, is hyper-local systems, integration with communities, technology being used in useful manners, and not just for the sake that we have technology. There are times when putting your hand into the ground is better than putting a plow. So yeah, that's it for me.
A árvore da visão, para mim, complementando a Malém também, a gente só vai conseguir esse futuro radical com energia renovável, tudo isso, quando o ser humano entender que a gente não está separado da natureza, que a gente é a natureza. Então aqui, nós todos aqui não estamos defendendo a natureza, não. Nós somos a natureza. Então, a árvore, a gente é a árvore. Então, porque se a gente falar, então vamos fazer a revolução solar, vamos produzir 1 bilhão de painel solar e o que vai acontecer com a mineração? Onde está esse tóxico todo que é produzido? Então, a gente tem que estar em equilíbrio. Então, essa visão vem justamente dos povos originários, que vêm vivendo em harmonia com a natureza. Então, a visão radical do futuro é onde todas essas partes aqui estão em equilíbrio com a natureza e que conta uma história. Um tronco de uma árvore conta uma história. Aqui no Cerrado, por exemplo, as árvores, você consegue ver quantas vezes elas foram queimadas, elas aprenderam com todo esse histórico. Então, e essas raízes aí, com certeza, é o conhecimento indígena, ancestral, dos povos originários que viveram por milhares de anos em harmonia, e é isso que a gente tem que fazer, porque nós somos a natureza. Muito obrigado.
Thank you so much for sharing those visions of the future with us. I hope everyone's been paying attention because now we're going to call on the crowd. But before that, we'd like to invite folks to turn to their partner next to you, ideally a partner that speaks the same language, and share your version of the vision tree. What is your cloud? What is your leaf? What is your trunk? And what are your roots? After this pair sharing, Candace and the team are going to pass out some Post-it notes, and you'll have the opportunity to write these down and stick them on our vision trees so that our panelists can walk around the room and actually hear from you on what your radical vision is. So we'll give folks 5 minutes, and hopefully my DJ can play us some music at a low volume while we talk about what our idealization of the vision tree is.
Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds. While they're standing in the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds. We're people gonna rise up, get their share. We're people gonna rise up, take what's theirs. Don't you know you better run, 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 run. Oh, I said you better run, 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 run. Cause finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. Yes, finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. Oh, no. Talking about a revolution. Oh, while they're standing in the welfare lines, crying at the doorsteps of those armies of salvation, wasting time in the unemployment lines, sitting around waiting for a promotion. Don't you know, talking about a revolution sounds. And finally the tables are starting to turn. Talking about a revolution. Yes, finally the tables are starting to turn. Talk about a revolution, oh, no. Talk about a revolution, oh, no. Talk about a revolution, oh, no.
All right, I'm seeing some conversation and I'm also seeing some writing. We have people standing by the trees if you'd like to start sticking your Post-it notes up. You can stick your visions above the tree, or I can be drowned out by the music too.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay.
All right, so
There will be
as
no
we're
pictures of
nearing
pigs shooting
time,
down-
we're going to be inviting our panelists down into the crowd to start reading your visions. So I hope Post-it notes are going up on the trees.
Liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry armed women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with Coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
Hi, friends online. Can you hear me? I'm back and just inviting all of our online audiences to do this activity with us. If some of you have done this activity already of your vision, please guard your answers, but send us your cloud, send us your ideal vision, send us your words that you chose for your clouds in the chat right now. We're waiting to hear from you. Our audiences on ground are waiting to hear from you. So if you have your word for cloud, your vision of the ideal future, please put those words in the chat right now. Thank
Para quem
you.
está nos acompanhando online e quiser compartilhar sua visão aqui no chat sobre a sua, principalmente sobre a sua palavra para as nuvens, por favor, nos envie. A gente vai repassar para os nossos hosts para eles lerem aqui também no painel ao vivo. Para los que están con nosotros en línea, si podéis compartir su palabra, las inglés principalmente, las vamos a repasar a los que están aquí personalmente.
S'il vous plaît, vous pouvez mettre votre mot pour nuage dans le chat maintenant. Votre vision idéale, mettez vos mots dans le chat, s'il vous plaît. Merci. And now we have the next part of our tree, which are the leaves. So please put your vision for what you would like us to accomplish together as a movement, as a part of your leaves. So please put your words for leaves in the chat, and we're waiting to hear from you. Pour les francophones, vous pouvez mettre vos mots pour les feuilles maintenant. Ça représente qu'est-ce qu'on nous pouvons tous accomplir avec notre mouvement climatique. Donc, mettez vos mots pour les feuilles maintenant dans le chat. Merci.
Before we wrap, I would just like to share some clouds that have come through from our family online who are joining us. Tasia's cloud is climate justice. A big shout out to Hong, who's joining us today. Her cloud is all lives on earth thrive. Lexi's cloud is empowerment. Stella's cloud is climate justice. And as we wrap, I just want everyone for a moment. I called this mongoose the other day. Apparently it's flamingo. Our panelists have left the stage and they're in the crowd amongst you now, amongst their fellow activists. I'd like everyone just to give a big hand, a big round of applause to all our panelists that are now reading your visions. All right, from here we head into break. But thank you all for joining the panel. It was a little bit, presentation, a little bit casual, but please keep contributing to the trees and walk around and take some photos if you'd like. Oh, come back at 11:30, sharp. Pacific Islanders, sharp. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. And as you can see, the live panel is ending as people are putting and continuing to populate the vision tree. But we do invite you to come finish the tree with us. So we have two parts left, which is the trunk, and we have the last part left, which are the roots. So waiting to hear from you in the chat, what is the trunk for you? which is our collective strength, and what are the roots for you, which is your individual strength. So please do put that in the chat so we can hear from you, and we can use your answers to populate our vision tree on the ground. I'm hearing some fantastic answers from people, so we keep them going. The roots and the trunk. And as we do that, let me just tell you another way how you can get involved, as we do at the end of each panel. So this activity today, thank you so much for taking part in this. We really enjoyed what you had to write and your dreams for our future, which we will make into a reality. In the meanwhile, we are inviting you to share your vision of a just, radical future through your preferred medium. So this can be a short statement, a drawing, a painting, a poem, a spoken word piece, or a photo or a digital graphic, as you like. And please share that vision on your social media with the hashtag Radical Futures and Renew Our Power. You can find the link to this activity in the chat right now. And we hope that you will share on our social media and tag us so that we can strengthen our vision tree and extend its branches to one another. We do hope you enjoyed this session, and please remember tomorrow is our final day of Renew Our Power, where we will be joined by our dear friend and fierce Vietnamese activist, Hong. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow as we wrap up, and how you can join us as we turn all of this momentum from this gathering into action. Thank you so much for being a wonderful, wonderful audience. Thank you, Dave, for joining us from the ground, and see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Muito obrigada a todas, todos, todes. Gracias. Merci. See you
Merci
all
beaucoup.
tomorrow.